This is the Pocket Monster Manual. I'm Wooly Shambler, here with Bran,
Hello.
Asti,
I really go for a bite to eat.
Moogle,
Nom, 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 nom.
and Specs.
Does anyone remember Street Sharks?
We're talking about Gabite.
It's pronounced Gabite. It is actually pronounced Gabite because it's the same in Japanese, which means it must be Gabite.
I hate that Pocket Monster Manual is where Specs comes to practice bits.
It is a street shark, though, yeah.
Oh, these guys! I was like, what are you talking about? But I absolutely do remember these.
They're sharks on the street, what do you mean?
Oh, yeah. These guys were fucking sick.
It's interesting. This thing is like a proper Western style dragon. It habitually digs up and hoards gems in its nest. Its loot is constantly targeted by hobbits.
I mean, Sableye is basically Gollum, so that makes sense.
I like that, though. It's a classic Western dragon.
It loves sparkly things. It seeks treasure in caves.
As a kid, it never registered to me that these things were like sharks for some reason. I just saw them as just like dragons, which is weird because I was so shark-pilled as a kid. I figured I would have latched onto them, but I didn't really.
I've never liked the way that Gabite specifically has like its arms held horizontally, like forward. I've never liked that. I don't know why. It feels
He's T-Rexing.
it feels a bit like a goofy pose to me.
Yeah, it is. It does look like it's gone into a pose to try and tickle my funny bone.
For that to be its key art is a little bit weird to me. I'd rather it had like a bit more of a dynamic pose, like considering that it's supposed to be quite a scary Pokemon, you know, like.
Yeah, I do like the idea of a shark that can swim through the ground. I think it's a cool visual, like having a fin coming through, sort of like Earth that's being tilted towards you.
Nibble snarf.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of crossover between Monster Hunter and Pokemon back in the day. It was good.
Oh, the Pokemon Sword Pokedex explains what the things on the side of its head are for. The Pokemon emits ultrasonic waves from a protrusion on either side of its head to probe pitch-dark caves. So it's like a bat. It just uses like ultrasound echolocation.
Are there any moves that reference this?
Probably learn Supersonic. Doesn't learn Supersonic.
Not that I'm seeing. Yeah, it doesn't get anything to take advantage of this by the looks of it.
Come on.
Should learn a sound type move, you know?
Oh my god. Guys, I like sound type. I'm getting pretty sick of the sound type.
I don't want to hear about it. I've had to hear about Butterfree and Venomoth for the past like 6 or 7 years.
Now this one's a bite type Pokemon. There's lots of bite type Pokemon. This Snubble.
Does he get big jaws? He doesn't get, there's a big jaw ability, isn't there, or something?
Yeah,
which is
strong
like the
jaw.
bite move.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't get that.
Well, look at it. It doesn't look like it has a strong jaw though.
I mean, Gibble did.
Average jaw.
It's called Gay Bite. Come on. Garchomp. What does Gibble mean?
Like nibble.
Oh, like nipple.
Maybe it's a balance thing, because if you gave it additional damage, it would be fucking stupid.
It gets Sand
Yes.
Veil for some reason.
I mean, it makes sense.
Why?
I guess it's because it's always in the sand, right? It's to do with the fact that it's like swimming in the sand, I guess.
Don't they hang out in caves and shit? It's the cave of Pokemon.
Yeah, sand.
I don't think we needed Gabite and Garchomp. I don't think this thing fills a niche that Garchomp didn't. It doesn't really even look like a sort of like a teenager mid-tier evolution. It just looks like it just looks like a lame version of Garchomp. That's what I'm saying.
That's what a middle evolution is, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't a teenage thing just like the lame version?
This one more than anything, I think. More than any of them. Except maybe Typhlosion and Quilava.
I definitely feel like they had Gibble and Garchomp, and we're like, well, it's the pseudo. We have to have a middle, because otherwise the power scale just gets nuts. So they kind of just threw it together.
Middle evolutions always feel like the one that was designed last.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I feel like this is probably, like, if you go into Gen 4 without knowing what the dex is, so if you're doing it, like, when it was released, you don't necessarily know that Garchomp exists, and you get this fucking little fucking bitey shark thing, and it evolves at level 24. You might well go, oh, this could be its final evolution. Its stats are pretty good, like, it's okay, like, for a mid-game Pokemon, and then you get to level 48, and it's like, oh no, this is the fucking serious, right, okay. So I could see why Gabite exists fine. Like I think it's fine. Like
I just
it
think
needs.
I
Go on.
know it. You know, we do talk about the teenage mid-evolution a lot, but I really think this one does it a lot worse than a lot of them do.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
There's
I think
nothing
it's
to
with-
differentiate him really, like
Yeah.
the pupa stage of Rattata, for example.
He's just Garchomp 0.5.
I think out of all the pseudos that we've talked about so far, I like Shelgon and Pupitar more because they're like more interesting. But I think I like this more than like Dragonair, which is just like bigger Dratini.
Or any of the birds, the normal flying birds that you get in the beginning.
yeah.
Those
I feel
pseudos
Those ones are
always
really
have-
lame. Yeah.
Dratini specifically, I think, was designed to psych you out as to, okay, well, here's the final evolution. It's just a 2-stage because it evolves at like level 35. Like that's really late for a Gen 1 Pokemon. Like, and I don't think you're supposed to really twig that Dragonite comes from it until it does, I guess. But all the others, the pseudos, they feel like if the second stage is like some kind of cocoon that something big is going to come out of, whereas Gabite feels like it's just a mid-evolution.
He looks like a cousin that Totodile hangs out with at the family reunion, and they both end up getting the whole family reunion canceled because they get into a fight because they had too many beers together.
I can bite harder than you can. Nuh-uh.
If you think about it, crocodiles are just sharks with legs, honestly.
And that's why they're sick.